Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. I hope you're all doing great today. So we are going to turn up the Easter basket looking, I'm calling it Easter basket because that is what it looked like to me, pen. So let's make sure we got what the heck's going on with the camera here? Okay, it turned off. We are back in business. Let's try this. So here's the blanks. Whoa. These things are looking pretty awesome. Like with the green, the purple, they look like an Easter basket to me. Got some good, oh, is it sticky? No, okay. You got some good swirling going on. Some of these look a little fuzzy on the outside, but I think on the inside it's gonna look amazing. So I'm very pleased with these. Good color combo. I like the, so I told you that in the past I don't think I've added like a white. And it just adds just a little bit of interest. We went with really thin pours of that, very small amount. But those accent colors can really, add a lot to a blank, let's just say. So, put those aside. Here's the blank that I chose. Got some good looking swirly things going on. A little bit of yellow, some green, some purple, and a little bit of white. All right, so you can tell it's a long one. So I really wasn't sure which way to go on the kit for this one. So I went with my old standby. We went with the Zen. And I'm gonna go with gold. I don't know. I have what do they call it? Satin silver that almost looks kind of whitish, and I thought about that, but it doesn't really match the white. I don't know. But I like the Zen because it gives you a really large blank to turn. And I like the kit because you get a roller ball without having to screw the cap on with the magnetic top. One thing I need to look into, there's another magnetic top kit that's similar to the Zen that I want to look into. I always forget which one and forget to buy it. But anyway, that's what we got going on today. Should be pretty fun. Let's see here. Just scrolling up. I'll switch to this view, I guess. And I apologize. I feel like I think I'm trying to catch a cold. So the voice may give out. I hope not though, because I've got about 3 doctor's appointments and other things going on the next 2 weeks, and it's just not a good time for this. So let's see here. I don't see any questions or anything. So one thing I wanted to mention, if you didn't see it today, or if you haven't heard about it, Turner's Warehouse came out with a new, if you're familiar, if you're looking into getting into the kitless pen turning stuff. So the tap and die holders. So back in the day, this brand came out, and you would put this in your tailstock. It holds this one holds a tap. This thing holds a die, and they're interchangeable. But the nice thing is, it's on this rod, but you can do all your tapping and dyeing, thread cutting. With this thing, but this company went out of business or whatever. I don't know exactly what happened. You can't get them anymore. And Turner's Warehouse filled the gap, and they got a really nice tap and die holder that they came out with. So I want to put a link first so you can just check it out. It's very similar. Obviously a different design, but it operates similarly. I really want to, I don't know that I need to replace mine, so I don't know that I'm going to go buy one of these things because mine works fine, but I do want to try it out because they're, especially the die holder, is really nice. Like it really centers the die, whereas this one's only got like 2 screws, or maybe just 1. Might just be 1. And sometimes I feel like it's not centered right. So they've got one with 4 screws in it, and I think it's probably like the best. Daniel was mentioning this, and I looked at the design. but you can really get that die centered in their holder. So it's a really nice little piece of kit there. So I'm going to drop a link to their video. So they did a live stream Wednesday, and Daniel made a kitless pen, and he used this new thing. So if you want to check it out, you can if you want to watch the whole thing, obviously that's a great idea. But it's about 3/4 of the way through. He started using that, and it's a really nice piece. And so mainly, I mean, like if you've got the Neil's Niche one, are you going to buy another one of these things? It does the same thing. There may be a couple little features that are maybe a little bit nicer. Who knows? I am curious to see how they compare, but I think if you were like waiting for this thing to come out, or for them to come back, I think that now is the time to go snag one. So there's a link to the video if you want to check that out first. And here is a link. Let's see here. Here's a link to the actual piece if you're like, yep, that's what I've been waiting for. So again, they got those in stock right now. You can pick them up. Yeah, non-responsive, out of business, something. Yeah, Daniel did a good job. I just kind of quickly looked because I saw that they were doing something with that thing. So I just kind of scrolled through a little bit. I did look and see what he was making. It was really nice. He did a great job. But I wanted to kind of check that out and see what's going on. All right, so yeah, I hope the gold looks pretty good in this one. It's like a canary. Oh, are you talking about the kit? I think it'll look good. I don't love gold personally, so it's always tough for me to pick a gold one because I'm like, I wouldn't really want that. But in the end, once I get it on the kit, everything's done. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, an Amazon one. You never know, Biggest tap holder from Niche. I don't know. I don't know if you can actually go to their website because, I didn't get mine from Turner's Warehouse. I don't think. I'm pretty sure that I got it directly from Neil's Niche because I bought mine a long time ago. Before I really got back into it, I kind of did a little dabbling. God, it was probably a long time ago, and that had just kind of come out, so I bought it directly from them. So, yeah, actually, that's true. Turner's Warehouse may actually have some of those things left. The one thing, I don't know that I saw the tap thing for theirs. So I don't know if that's something that maybe they have them, or it doesn't really work the same way. But anyway, yeah, contact them, or maybe you can go to see if there's still a website for Neil's Niche or something like that. I don't know. Anyway. Other news I think I figured out, I solved it's not the greatest solution, but I went on Amazon, and you can actually, for anybody that's even thinking about getting into streaming or any of that kind of stuff, excuse me, you can buy for $25, or actually I don't even think it was $50, I think it was $16. There's HDMI switchers that you can just buy. So you don't have to buy this $500 the A10 mini thing. This is the problem that I had, is for how much that cost, I could probably just get a different camera for this view and everything would work fine. Well, no, I take it back. I would still have to buy the A10 mini. The problem that I had was I had USB and HDMI, and you can't just plug all these things into the ATEM. I could have gotten for $200 or $300 something that'll convert USB into HDMI and then plug it into an A10 mini. So we're talking $800 to switch this. But what I found was you can just get an HDMI switcher for under $20. It actually even came with a remote. It actually has 3. You can find some that have 4. The only issue, and you'll see in a second, so I got a remote, so I'm going to switch to the other view. Hopefully. Maybe. Not working. Oh. Well, I don't know if this worked or not. Which one is one? Hold on a minute, guys. Let's see. So that was, oh, you got to switch to the other camera. I got to switch it to the other thing. Hold on a minute. All these settings and, all right. So first there, so I've got a remote and I can just click the remote. The only issue is it's like pretty slow to switch. It's faster to go that one. It's slower to go back to this one. It's like black screen. Then it comes back. So anyway, for 20 bucks, I solved the problem sort of. It's a little bit clunky, but it's super cheap. So it'll work. And it shouldn't freeze or do any of that kind of stuff anymore. Let's see here. Okay. I think that's it. So we're going to switch to this view and take our blank over and let's start turning before I lose my voice. Oh, I need to double check one thing. I always do this. I need to, we'll switch to camera one, camera two, camera one. I always forget to do this. I need to double check and see what the, I know it's one of the junior variant things. I don't think I have like an actual Zen. Maybe I do. That'd be kind of funny. No, I don't think I did. Need to double check and see which bushings. You can use one of the ends from a junior kit. I really need to replace this plastic thing. 12.1, 12.8. This one's bigger. I think this one's the bigger one. Yeah. Okay. So I need to double check and see which bushing I'm supposed to be using. I think it's the bigger one. Yeah, so 13. It may not be perfect, but these also may just be a little bit worn down. It's pretty close. So I need, if you have two sets of junior bushings, then you can do this. But otherwise, you're better off getting obviously the Zen kit. So what did I do? So let me just double check again, make sure I don't grab the wrong ones. Yeah, 12.8. Okay, so, and then I need to put these back. I don't know which ones were which. Okay, so I got these. I got my bushings ready. Close that down. We'll go to camera 2. Okay. Am I leave enough room? I never leave enough room. These Zen kits are pretty long. Pretty long. Okay. Oh, I need to get my phone out and check out what's going on in the chat. Let's see here. YouTube. Volume off. And my channel. Okay, here we go. So I'm very excited to turn this because I really want to see what the inside looks like on this one. It's very enticing. It's so enticing. All right, so let's see here. Okay. What happened when pouring in my big Bertha mold, my blanks come out rough? What is a big Bertha mold? What is a Big Bertha mold? Hold on a minute. If you're talking about the top surface, I gotta look this up. What's a Big Bertha mold? Soap mold? Hmm. Is this for like the fish baits? Oh, 12. Oh. So I'm guessing on the outsides of the blanks. Is that what we're talking about? Or inside the blank? We can get going here. Yeah, so, oh, okay, so the beast. Yeah, so the outside's got some. So I'm going to maybe guess that you might be getting it in a little bit too late. Possibly. You might get, I mean, if it's excessive, if it's very excessive, I would say it might be, you may be a little bit late on getting it in there, or are you double checking to make, how long are you leaving it, what resin are you using, and how long are you leaving it in for also? Yeah, just buy a new one. No, it shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be the mold. One light clear slow, 6 hours. Yeah, that should be enough. One other question, does this happen regardless of what type of colorant you're using? Or what, whatever you're putting in it? I think the easiest thing to do to double check is, man, that's a lot of blanks to do a test with, kind of, but I would first try, like whatever temperature you're pouring at, I would try pouring at a lower temperature, like reduce that number. Whoa, look at this blank. Oh my God, I haven't even looked at it. Sorry. I gotta get you guys in here. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, I forgot to plug the plug in for the camera. I was like, why isn't this thing working? Hold on a minute. We'll work on the troubleshooting in a sec, but you guys got to check out this blank. Might have to drop the. Might have to reduce the. Oh, you should be able to. Can you guys see that? It's kind of bright. Let me reduce the how bright that light is. Look at that! Whoa! That turned out pretty darn good, I think. Now I forget, did we use... I want to look something up real quick. Forget how... I'm pretty sure we did some sort of a swirl, but... Okay, we did the full stick. Wow. Sorry. I wasn't even like paying attention to the blank, and I stopped and I looked down and I went, whoa, look at that thing. Wow. All right, so back to, let's see here, 6 hours, let's see here. I did not paint the tube. Usually when, I mean, we'll have to see. I think I put enough mica in there, but I kind of like not painting the tube so that you guys can be like, oh, so I can say like, oh yeah, you can see it, you would probably want to paint the tube. A lot of times though, if I've got a gold or yellow mica somewhere in the blank, I usually put enough to where like it's you may be able to see the tube, like if you know what you're looking for, but it doesn't really stand out. Like it's usually not so transparent that it's like this glue blobs and yuckiness. However, and like I said, I mean, part of it is I'm a little bit lazy and I don't want to have to mess with it. That's another reason why I like the Juniors, the Sierras, or, you know, whatever, Majestic or whatever they're called, and cigars, because I can just get the powder coated tubes from Turner's Warehouse on those. And I don't have to actually paint anything, because I always forget. So there's a little bit of lazy component, but at the same time it works out because if I turn it on the stream and I'm like, whoa, definitely paint this, it'll help everybody that's in the pen blank club getting these guys. And I mean, one thing I do also want to mention, just because my blank didn't turn out that way, you know, like it looks fine in my blank, you know, that's not to say that every single blank, there may be one or yours, you know, you're always better off painting a blank if you don't mind the process, you remember all that kind of stuff. Frankly, regardless of the blank, you're better off painting the tubes. That way you don't get to the end and go, there's a spot that looks terrible. But in general, I usually try to load up mica powders and whatever is going in there enough to cover stuff up. I do less on something that is like the bespoke length because, and I understand that people are, not everybody's going to make a, custom pen out of those, but that's where I'm like, well, this is kind of meant to be a little bit more on the, sometimes I'm actually shooting for that. So at that point, you may need to paint the inside of the blank or, definitely paint the tube on something that's lighter or, whatever, more transparent. So let's see here. Let's see here. So going back to the pressure pot and all, yeah. So Joseph, I would, let's dissect this because this might really help some other people out. So I want to just kind of stop and like think about this for a minute. I'm going to turn the dust collector off so I'm not like feel like I'm yelling at you guys. We're going to go back over here to the intro. So number one, you know, and I'm just going to use this as an example. First thing, if I pour bricks like this, do I have one? It'd be really great if I had a brick that just sitting around. I used to. I don't know if I got rid of it. There's one. Yes, I have one. Oh, looked out yesterday. This isn't the greatest example, but so the way that pressure pots work, there isn't any really good ones in this brick, but let's see here. So I got to go here, and then I got to go to number one, camera two. Did it shut off again? What's going on with this camera? Okay, so obviously this $12 or whatever I spent solution isn't the greatest, but we'll just work with it. So I don't know if you can see, but so on the bottom, this thing is, there's nothing really going on the bottom. But on the top, you can see there's these little, I don't know if you can see them. There's little dimples and things going on the surface. And you're never gonna, like unless there was absolutely no bubbles in it, like if you literally vacuumed the resin before you poured it. Here's another good example. Top of this. This wasn't pressurized, but even if it was, you'd still get the top surface would have these little pits and things in them, okay? The thing is, the way that the pressure pot works, you've got all these little bubbles, you know, micro bubbles and sometimes bigger ones inside the resin. And as long as it's completely surrounded by resin, the pressure pot will collapse them down to like being basically microscopic. And then once the liquid turns hard, it basically, like, the technical term I believe is it puts the bubble in solution, similar to how like carbonation works. Like they pressurize a soda can and there's all these bubbles, there's fizz, which is bubbles in there. And inside the can under pressure, there's no bubbles. The minute you release the thing, they all kind of come back. And that means that it's like in solution if it's all surrounded. Now, the problem is you release the pressure and a bubble that was on the surface that's like halfway in the resin and halfway out, it's going to end up being a little divot in the top. Like you would have to physically remove, like by first vacuuming, then pressurizing just to make sure there's no other bubbles in your thing. So you're going to get that on the surfaces of things sometimes, but typically you don't get a lot. I'm going to look at a blank. Yeah, there's really, here's a blank, and there are a few little bumps and things on these. These are P-Town. There are a couple areas where there's little bumps, but I mean, for the most part, they're pretty much, there's no bumps. So, like I said, first thing to check is you got to make sure that the pressure is staying pressurized. So also, you know, have you turned into any of these things and seen if, like, are there a bunch of pit, you know, like basically air bubbles inside the blanks? Because that's a problem for sure. And that means that you probably put it in the pressure pot too late. You're getting a weird reaction for some reason. Could be moisture. That could also do it. There's a couple things that could cause an issue where there's bubbles in the inside the actual blanks. Typically, it just means you put it in the pressure pot too late and the pressure couldn't act upon it in time. So the first thing that I would do is reduce get it in the pressure pot earlier. It is a 12 blank mold. That's going to take longer to get everything done. So maybe try starting 5 degrees, maybe. It kind of depends on where you're starting, but start the process at like 90 degrees, depending on the temperature in your shop. 92, especially if you're using mica powders, you should be okay. It shouldn't really bleed that much. And really try to get everything done as quick as possible. Get it in the pressure pot, and then see if those results are better. If that's the case, then you were getting it in the pot too late. The other thing to look at is what you're putting inside, like what colors, what mica powders or liquid pigments and all that kind of stuff. Is there any kind of weird reaction going on? Trying to think of anything else. The other thing is making sure that your pressure pot isn't dropping pressure, like has a leak in it. If your pressure pot's got a leak and it drops below 40 within less than like half an hour, then you got a problem. So you always want to stay 40s. Usually you really don't want to go below that, because if the pressure goes too low, or if you pulled it out, now I think 6 hours is fine, but if you pull it out of the pressure pot too early, the bubbles will basically just come back if it hasn't like fully solidified. So there's a couple things to look into maybe. 75, yeah. I would back it down just a little bit and try that first. That just seems like, that happens to me. Like if I get it in too late, I was kind of messing around, or I took too long pouring stuff, then I definitely get some bubbles and weird stuff on the outside, and they're definitely inside the blanks as well. So I would drop it down, like especially if you're using micas, you should be okay starting at like 92 or so. That should be okay as long as it's not like super hot in your shop already. I think if you're below, I don't know, 75, let's say maybe 78 in your shop, you should be okay to start pouring at 92. The bottoms maybe a little bit more kind of, mixed up a little bit, but especially if you're doing it very slowly, if it's taking a long time to get through all 12, then you're going to need to start earlier. Now, another thing you can try is doing the same exact thing, temperatures, all that stuff, colors, and like go get a 6 blank mold if you've got one. So try to do less and see if you have the same issues. Because again, I think we're leaning towards you're getting it in the pot too late. That's my guess. But like I said, if that's not the case, if you get exactly the same issues, regardless of how quick you can get stuff into the pot, then you need to start looking into like maybe like a weird moisture thing. Double check and make sure your pot isn't leaking. I know I doubt that I don't think that's it really, but yeah, you don't even necessarily need 75. I mean, honestly, and make sure, like if, I will say, if you're using the California Air Tools, the max pressure number, you really don't want to get up there. You want to keep within the operating pressure. That's meant for repeated use. Just to be safe, you really don't need to be pushing 80 on your pressure pot. It's not really going to give you much benefit, I don't think at all. So I would stick to, make sure you're sticking to like, whatever the like operating max or operating pressure, if it's a California. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they're only rated at 60 for operating. That's not to say that it's going to blow up or do anything. It's just, you're pretty much guaranteed to not have any issues with it if you just keep it where it's at. So that's what I always recommend. And like I said, there's really no advantage to doing that, I haven't found. My CA Technologies pots are rated to, they're rated to 80. I don't even go that high in them. I go to 70 just to be safe. There are like Binks, they make pots that are pretty, like I think they're rated to like 100 or something like that. So if you've got one of those, but they're like $1,000. So I kind of doubting that you have that. But anyway, yeah, just try that. Try that out. Well, I would say try the 12 blank mold starting at 92 degrees to pour at, or try a 6 blank mold with the same numbers that you were using, just to kind of see if there's any difference, and like try to keep it like the same colorants and all the, try to keep everything the same, do less blanks, see if that helps. You can maybe drop the temperature down a little bit, like to 95. 95 is usually like kind of the sweet spot on it, as long as you're not pushing, 80 or above for degrees in your shop. 95 is usually fine. And like we poured the Easter blanks at like 92. They turned out great. So just try that first. See if you can, you know, if you get stuff in there and it changes totally, then you should be good. Now, the other thing to double check is turn those blanks that have things on the outside, because it may just be superficial whatever on the outside, where if there's no, you know, air pocket, little air bubbles and, you know, the same stuff when you turn it, little divots. If there's that, then you definitely have air bubbles, you know, in your blanks. So hopefully that helps. I just wanted to kind of stop and, you know, if you got a, well, it's really frustrating if you're getting weird results. So I wanted to take the time to kind of discuss that, because, you know, you're not the only person that gets that. Like I've gotten it and I'm looking at it like, what the heck? But I've kind of gotten an idea over time of like what really caused that. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Back the speed down. Turn off the dust collector. Yeah, it is frustrating when you get issues. I know very well. Last year was the worst when I had that moisture thing, and I don't think you have a moisture problem in your resin, most likely. That's not probably the problem, but like unless you left your cap off, which I think it was my own fault. I think I left the breather cap open or something. That was a weird one that I have not seen in 15 years. So that was very frustrating though. But but over the years, I've run into pretty much every problem you can get with resin. And you just want to smack your head on the wall. It just sometimes can get annoying. Now there is, if nothing works, then, so here's a good one also. If you change molds and basically don't really change a whole lot of anything else, there is a tiny possibility that if the mold itself has air bubbles in it, in the silicone, he pressurizes it though. So, there's a very rare, if for some reason he doesn't pressurize them or one didn't get pressurized when he made it, technically when you pressurize it, it could collapse any air bubbles in the mold. But I think you'd be getting some really funky stuff. It wouldn't be just little tiny things. So I don't think it's the mold really. Like I said, there's like a shadow of a chance that something could be weird with the mold, but it just, Fred's been doing it forever. He's got the process down. I seriously doubt that that could be an issue, you know. One other thing to ask, are you using a mold release on those? Just a random, that's another thing. I don't think that is a problem, but could be. You know, I don't know. How did the bowl? Oh, the bowl blank. It's sitting over there. It hardened. We'll have to look at that before we put this pen together. Good question. How did the equipment demonstration? Oh, the demo day. That went really well. Thanks for asking about that. That was amazing. If you, I mean, so if you're not a snowboarder or skier, basically think about it like you can go to like a turning event and turn on like, you know, whatever lathe you want on the planet, or, you know, use whatever tools. Like you can literally just go there and do whatever you want, and like everything that you ever wanted to try is there. That's how it was. And there was like no lines or anything. It was like the perfect day. So it was pretty cool. The only issue was I didn't have enough time to do everything that I really wanted to, but I got a lot of information and ended up buying a brand new snowboard at the end of the day. So it was really fun. And so if you are a snowboarder or skier, I highly recommend going to a demo day if they have one near you. It is so amazing being able to, you can sit there and look at specs and listen to reviews and all this stuff, but until you actually step foot on a board, and then like the reason why I think the demo day thing is so amazing and so useful, being able to, you know, get on one, maybe you already have one. This is the other thing, is I took like 3 runs on my board and it was an absolute nightmare. It was not fun. That thing was not working at all. And then the first board that I tried out was just, it was like magical. And I thought that mine was a little too aggressive and a little bit too long for slushy conditions especially, but I was able to actually get on different boards and be like, okay, do I like this type of feel better? You know, I got on one that was a little bit more aggressive. I got on one that was a little quicker turning. And then I got on this one that was the one that I was really kind of looking at, and ended up going with that. So it was great. It was literally, that was one of the funnest days I've ever had on the mountain. And I mean, it was a pretty terrible slush day, but it was really fun. Like I said, even if you're not like a snowboarder or whatever, same thing goes for like turning stuff. If you've got a club, something that's similar, I don't know of any specific events where you can really go and try out like a bunch of different, like every manufacturer's lathe. However, if you've got a turning club, a lot of times they've got a few different lathes, and you can go and try things out there, you know, try some different tools. And worst case scenario, if the club doesn't have, you know, a specific tool or a, you know, whatever lathe or something, someone in the club might actually have what you're looking for. So you might be able to coax them into stopping by their shop and try it out. So, but it is, you know, being able to try things out before you buy them is so nice. I mean, just compared to how I've bought a snowboard in the past, like I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy this board for sure. And it's going to do exactly what I want because I already tested it out. So, pretty cool. But like I said, anytime you can get a chance to get on something and put it through its paces, give it a shot. Yeah, the only issue is I bought a 2027, you know, whatever, like next year's model. So like I don't even have it. It's not coming out until fall. So it was a little bit bittersweet. But next season is going to be epic because I don't want to jinx it, but I don't really think I can. Like there is no way that next season is going to be as horrible as this season was. So it's going to be better, I'm pretty sure. So it'll be a pretty good one on that board. And I've actually decided to change I used to just be like, okay, I got one board. It does goes wherever I want to go. And I've actually changed that up. I've actually already bought another board in addition to the one that I bought. Because next year I want to start, I want to learn some very basic freestyle skills. And although you can do that on any board, one of the big things I want to learn is how to ride switch, which means basically going the opposite direction that I'm used to. Like on a snowboard, I ride what they call normal stance, or normal foot. That means my left foot is forward on the board, whereas switch would be like I'm going down the hill, but my right foot is leading. And I am absolutely horrible at it. Like I don't even do it ever, like ever. And if I am going backwards, something went wrong. So I want to put a little bit of time into learning that because it's a good skill to have. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy a freestyle board to focus on these types of things. A true twin that you set up and you put your stance exactly the same. You're right in the middle of the board, all that stuff. So it should be kind of fun. Yeah, I don't think next year could possibly be worse than this year. This is the worst winter I've ever seen in the West. Ever. Like, I mean, it was just terrible. And although all the days that I went up this year were good, I had a good time on pretty much every day. But the problem was then we got this rainstorm that just wiped out everything that because we got a 4-foot powder day in like one storm. Somebody was saying that it literally only snowed a total of, they're looking at how many hours of snowfall we had this season. And it was literally 72 hours of snowfall. We got it in like 3 storms. All the snow that we got was all in just 3 storms. It was weird. It was a really weird winter. That never happens. So next year, we had a weird weather pattern. It's going to go away and next year, and we'll be much better off. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of side to side with our little pad thing here. Put away our sandpapers. Man, this thing is looking good. I cannot wait to get this thing polished because I think it's going to be pretty spectacular. Going goofy. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be technically. But you do really need to know how to do that stuff because like one of the big things for me, like I don't plan to be like, oh, let's go hit the park today and I'm going to do some, 360 tail grabs. That's not really, I mean, I do want to learn how to jump too. But it's not because I really feel like, hey, I'm about to turn 50. What I should really do is go, hit the park today. The thing is, I like to do free ride, which you're like out in the, trees and, wherever, all over the mountain. And sometimes this has actually happened to me before. I was going on a trail, wasn't exactly a cat, well, kind of a cat track, I guess. And it was kind of the end of the season and stuff was kind of crazy, but there was right in front of me so I can't go outside of this little trail thing, right? I'm like on a path. And the thing is, it's kind of flat. So like you got to get speed at the top of the hill and just keep going or else you're going to be walking. And it was like kind of a weird powdery something day. And the problem was what happened, I'm going and I'm hauling, I'm going as fast as I can. And across the run, there was all these like tree twig things sticking out like all the way across the run. If I knew how to just jump, how to ollie over these things without crashing, if I was comfortable doing that, wouldn't have been a problem. I would have ollied over it and just kept going. But I didn't know how to jump. And so I ended up just running into these things and I ended up getting really hurt. I bruised my ribs. And so like there's certain things where you really need to understand how to do certain things, even if it's, typically jumping is for like, being playful and, whatever, having fun or whatever. But sometimes it's actually kind of necessary to have those skills and just, I don't want to hit huge jumps, but I want to be able to know how to do it if I need to, So I thought it'd be kind of cool. And then switch, the reason for learning how to ride switch, sometimes you got to traverse across a mountain sideways. And on snowboards, if you're on your heel edge, on your heels on the board and have to go, that direction. So like if you're on the side of a mountain and you're going, one direction, you'd have to be on your heels. On the other side, you'd be flipped around and be on your toes. Much easier to traverse across the side of a mountain on your toes. So, but for me, I always end up going left foot forward. And so if I'm going, you know, that direction, I'm on my heels, you know, one direction every time I'm on my heels, and you end up losing, you just can't grip the snow as well. And so it'd be really wonderful if I could just flip around and go backwards. But that ends up being worse for me. So anyway, lots of snowboarding stuff. Next year, hopefully, is going to be epic. I'm going to try and hopefully stay out of injuries and things like that until next winter. That would be great. And really rip it up. Rip it up, guys. Got to catch up for the last 2 years I missed. And I actually, you know, as bad as this winter was, I got some pretty good days on the mountain. So I'm not like super like, ugh. What I'm mad about with this season is that rainstorm that just wrecked the powder that we got. And it basically, that probably is making the ski resorts close down like probably a month early because of that. I mean, at least a couple of weeks we lost because of that rainstorm. So that's what I'm a little bit mad about. But other than that, it was a reasonably good year. Can't really complain that much. Yeah, Salt Lake was terrible. Colorado was terrible. I mean, like pretty much the entire West. Now the Pacific Northwest and you know, the Canada up there, they had a pretty terrible beginning. Some of them actually shut down early, but they got a little bit at the back end of winter, I believe. So I don't know. Some of them made out okay in the end. I think some of them just got kind of crushed right off the bat, but they got storms that I don't think Colorado, definitely Utah didn't see. Like it just kind of went straight across. That probably ended up on the East Coast. This year for the East Coast was probably the best winter ever, like ever. They got some pretty good stuff, and even Midwest. Like it was just, you know, things flip flop, weather patterns flip flop, and the West just got skunked this time. We'll get it back next year. All right, so doing a little bit of magic juicing. This thing's already looking pretty shiny. It's our magic juice. And then I like to wipe it off with a microfiber towel rather than the paper towel, so that I don't risk the paper towel kind of scratching that surface. I don't know what like grit Scott shop towels is, but I do think that it can, especially once you get to like the I would say above step 3 in magic juice, you start getting above like, I don't know, like above like 2,000 to 4,000 grit. And I think that, you know, I'm guessing that the paper towel is a little bit lower grit than like 4,000 possibly, or maybe it's at that, but you know, these, I don't know exactly what the grit level is for each magic juice bottle, but they're definitely going above 4,000 at some point. So I would recommend not, you know, just using a dry paper towel to wipe off in between grits with these polishes. I think you're going to get better results. I kept getting like random scratches, and that's going to happen. I mean, I never get these things dead perfect. I'm not going to microscope it. As long as it's got a good shine on it, that's good enough for me. But I did notice that I would get some issues, like I said, and so I switched to Now I still use a paper towel to apply it. My theory is once you get the magic juice on and that's all you're rubbing, there's like a little bit of a buffer. So I don't think there's an issue with the application, but I mean, there are some people that actually use microfibers to apply it, but you do have to watch out. And I actually do use microfibers for step 5 and 6, a non-scratch type thing. But the problem with these microfiber towels is they don't rip and they can get caught up on your lathe, which could cause an injury. So definitely never pull out like a full-on rag, like a long, rag thing, and go stick that on a spinning lathe. I only use this with the lathe off and I go, whatever. But the lathe is not engaged. However, if you cut the little microfibers, so what I do, so we're going to step 5, I just use these little, whatever they're called, I don't know, microfiber cleaning cloth. I found these on Amazon. Again, this won't rip. So if it got caught up, it could technically wrap your finger up in there somehow. But if you cut it small enough, I feel like this is reasonably safe. There's still some risk involved. It's not unrisky, but I think the risk of me actually getting injured is pretty low doing this. So you could cut up little squares and I think that would probably be all right. But again, use your best judgment in your shop. God, this number 5 is always, I think it's the top almost. I need to add more water. Now, if you've got like a really thick, one of your steps is like dry or, not really coming out or whatever, thick, you can add water. It's a water-based thing. So you can just add a little bit of water. Be very careful, like drops of it. Just kind of sneak up on that. But you can replenish it. These are not going to go bad on you. If it's kind of dried out, just add water and you're back to good to go. So, like I said, with this small of a thing, even if it did kind of catch and wrap around there, it's probably just going to kind of flap around and I'm probably going to be able to get my fingers out of the way. Usually when that happens, it kind of scares you anyway and you kind of pull back off the bat anyway. So, that is a way to go, and you could essentially you could use a microfiber for every step if you're worried. I don't really find that. I don't know. I don't know that I've done it with a microfiber for every single step, but I get reasonable enough results without doing that. So I don't know. It's always tough to figure out how to do these things. Let's see here. Yeah, some of our resorts are closed already too. Heavenly's half closed. Colorado, they only had 2 snowstorms. Yeah. Oh, you tried snowboarding? Yeah. I skied when I was a kid. And I switched when I actually figured it out. I pulled out a board, my first snowboard in it, and I was kind of thinking that I was about 15, but that pretty much confirmed it. It's so old, this board. And it was absolutely the wrong board. I literally picked it because it had a pretty graphic, basically. Wrong board for me. I was actually, at this time, this is in the 90s, I'm using Sorels that were already too big for my feet, and then those things don't hold you. It was a nightmare. It was really bad. But anyway, I looked it up, and that board was from '93, so I think I was 15 at that point. Because I probably bought it that year. Maybe I was 14, and it was kind of like, I don't know, sometimes the way they do years on things, it's like actually it was a year, like you're buying like next year's kind of almost. I don't know, I kind of doubt it. I think I was 15. But yeah, so I switched at that point, and I've been terrible on a board. I really, really wish I would have just taken a lesson, although I don't know if a lesson in 1993 would have been as productive as it would be today. But I struggled for a long time. but I enjoyed it more. I actually liked the fact that it was more challenging because I just kind of got to the point on skis where I wasn't progressing. I didn't spend enough time doing it when I was a kid. Basketball season was always in the way. And so I didn't spend enough time to actually get better. So I just got to the point where I was good enough to just point it down the hill and be able to do whatever I wanted. But it was kind of just like I went straight down the hill and it was kind of boring. So at least on a snowboard, I had it, it was challenging trying to stay on my feet. And then if you did get powder, oh, I think snowboards are way better in powder. All right, look at this thing. If it had more green, if it was a little bit more green dominant, I would definitely be like Easter basket. Like if you kind of like, if we maybe did like piles of stuff where there was more green, you'd have a lot of that grass. But I don't know. I think that this is pretty much the colors of Easter. So someday I may actually come out with this thing. We'll have to see. I might actually add this to my lineup. I really like this blank. And I think we all know the name of this blank if I do add it to my lineup. Really good one. All right, so let's look at this bowl blank. It turned out, like I said, we'll have to see. It's really hard to tell what you got until you turn into it. It's heavy, I'll tell you that right now. Camera one. Camera one takes forever to switch. Oh, it's off. That's why. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Huh. Should come back, and there we go. So here we go. We got it. We got a bunch of chunks of wood. Some of these guys floated on me. But for the most part, we got most of that wood covered up. This one had a lot of like holes and weird stuff in it, so I'm not totally surprised that it floated, but we got other things going on down here. And it's hard to tell if everything kind of commingled. It looks a lot like we did a kind of a clear with the macro sparkle and then the robin egg blue. So I don't know, we might have gotten a lot of commingling. It may be kind of a little bit more like homogeneous inside here. I don't know. That's what it looks like on the outside, but I have a feeling we've got some pockets of different stuff on the inside once you get to turning it. But it looks cool, so one of these days I'll have to get into this thing and turn it, see what we can make. Definitely gonna, I think it lends itself to a bowl, for sure. That thing's sticky right there. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna get rid of that sticky if I can. Okay, there we go. So not too bad. It's a big boy though, I'll tell you that. How big is this thing? 12. Oh no, not that big. Like about 8 3/4 maybe, 8.5 to 9, somewhere in there to. And it's about, I'll go a little under the rim because you're gonna lose some of that. So about 5 inches tall. And it should make a pretty big bowl. The only thing I don't like about doing like a bucket like this is you're gonna lose, well, it depends on what type of bowl, but I usually like doing the kind of rounded bowls. So you end up kind of losing quite a bit. Then obviously the center, we're gonna lose that. One thing to mention about, if you're gonna make a bowl blank, there are ways to save on like resin and some different stuff. And also kind of save you time, like turning it. If you use like a real bowl type blank, just get I don't really have, yeah. So just like kind of a little bit of an idea. If you can go to like the dollar store and pick up an actual plastic bowl like this. And that's going to save you a lot more resin and actually time turning. Because you've already got a lot of the shape ready. Now that may be a little bit cheaty. You don't have to do as much shaping, I guess, but it is kind of nice to start that way. But it will save you a good amount of resin. Now, another thing that you can do, you'll have to be a little bit, you have to do this right, but another thing that you can do to save on how much resin you're wasting, because like the middle of the bowl, I mean, you're just hollowing that whole thing out, right? So I don't have like the perfect thing to show you, but hopefully you can imagine. So one thing you can do is you can just grab yourself a chunk of wood and kind of like round it a little bit to the shape, somewhat the shape of the inside of the bowl. So this isn't a great example, but if this was all one piece of wood, you could just kind of shape it around, similar to what you would actually hollow out in the middle, and then just stick it down in there somehow. You may need to kind of, you can maybe put like drill holes in the side and like put some like dowels to kind of hold it in place, so it's not like all the way to the bottom. But that's a way to kind of take up space of resin, and not just waste this massive chunk of resin that you're basically just going to hollow out. The thing about it is, though, what I would do is after you've gotten, you'll have to get a chunk of wood and kind of shape it. What I would do is actually put probably 2, maybe even 3 coats of some sort of an epoxy on top, so that, because you don't really want to have to dry it out and you're not going to stabilize it. This is just waste wood. But the other thing you can do is just literally seal the wood off completely. So I would put like 2 or 3 coats of epoxy of some sort on top of it, fully seal it, then you won't have any moisture issues with that wood. So a couple little tips that I've kind of learned over the years. I haven't done a lot of these types of things really, so I'm not like a Jedi master at it. Definitely some other channels out there that really do this kind of bigger resin, bowl turning and all that kind of stuff, and you can get some really good tips. Check out Pole Barn Productions. Doug over there, he does some really amazing work, so he's probably got some tips and things going on over there. All right, so let's get this hefty big boy out of the way. Let's put this pen together and see what we got. Still haven't ordered the thing. I still don't think they have the new, or I don't think they restocked the Beast molds yet. I got to double check and look. Chad doesn't usually, he's so busy. He's probably not going to tell me when they get them in. All right, so let's zoom in just a little bit here. And yeah, I kind of had, I don't know if it really matters. I think I had it this way. So this is a pretty simple kit to put it together here. Nope, that doesn't work. Do it right. Try and keep this thing straight as possible off the bat so that it goes in pretty well. There we go. Boom. Ooh, I did a pretty good job on that one. Let's see here. We got our other side. So these are so quick. That's another thing that I like about the Zens. It's just they go together quick. One thing that you might want to double check, and I don't know, I've actually seen some people take off. Oh, that would actually work better. If you're going to press, sometimes and I don't know, maybe you guys can help out with this. Sometimes you can screw up the threads if you're pressing on something. Like at this point, if I took this off, there's no way that I could screw up the threads while I'm pressing. So that might actually be a better way to do this. But definitely, if you want to double check, if you're gonna keep the threaded thing in there, make sure it's tight, because if it's kind of halfway loose, that can definitely damage your threads, for sure. I've had that happen. So I don't know which way is actually best. Typically, I usually just leave the things in there, and I've never really had any issues. But I have had issues where, like I said, this thing was kind of loose, the nib or something, and I've pressed on it and it jacked the threads up. So just be aware of that. I'm gonna go get a little bit of paste wax. We'll hit these threads. I think is there a screw on both of these things? Yeah. So I'm gonna hit the threads on both of these ends. I think I'm gonna go I have a little smaller piece over here. And it doesn't take like anything. You just, all I do is just get a little bit on this and then just kind of rub it around on these threads. And then just kind of work it in. I don't even know which side was which at this point. They're probably both the same thing. So you can probably flip this kit around. So I just work it in. And we'll do the same thing on this guy. And that just makes it so it doesn't make that squeaky noise. It just, If you're selling pens, I highly recommend that you do that. It just makes the pen feel nicer. You know, like if you buy like, I don't know, let's say you sell a pen for $100 and then you get it home and they got to change the ink out and it starts squeaking on them. You're just like, that sounds cheap. This feels cheap. You know, so I think it's a good idea to wax those threads right off the bat. That way your customer is like, yeah, this thing's solid. Like this is a nice piece of equipment. But even for yourself, it's just annoying when those things squeak. So there we go. That's a nice looking pen, I think. What do you guys think? The gold looks pretty good with this. Kind of a little bit melts away. I don't know. Like I'm not sure what the best kit is, but I think it looks pretty nice. Like it's rich looking, kind of. What do you guys think about gold? Silver probably would have gone fine too, like a chrome. I don't know. Nothing would have been like perfect. I was really having a difficult time picking a type of, you know, like the plating for the kit. I really love the Zen. So like I gravitate towards these things in the first place. They just, if you've never used a Zen, like boom, like there's no screwing around, literally. I love those things. All right, let's switch to the intro view and see. We'll wind down, guys. We'll wind it out. So next week we'll be back in action doing something in here. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it goes with the yellow pretty good. I think it looks nice. I'm not a huge gold fan. Unless it's like just gold nuggets, that's fine. But anyway, oh, Calvin missed it. Oh, let me go back over. Here we go. Got a pretty nice gloss on that thing. Did a good job. Now, again, so you know, I stress over that the magic juice thing, right? But most important, I think, is really doing a good job through your grits. Now I only use like 3 grits, but they're very important. You know, you really need to establish, you know, with that 600 grit, you really need to make sure all the tool marks, get that thing, it has to be dead smooth. The only thing left on your blank can be 600 grit scratches. So do a good job on that first round of sandpaper. And then, you know, it's just a matter of getting those, you know, the 600 grit scratches out with I go with the green Zona. And so hopefully you've got just the green Zona, you know, scratch marks left. And then I go to the gray, and you got to make sure that you're getting the green Zona scratch marks out. But if you can get it up to that gray or maybe even blue Zona level, which is somewhere around 2000 grit probably, you should have no problems getting this thing nice and polished with with pretty much anything, magic juice or any of those things. But or you could keep going through the grits with Zona as well. But again, the baseline sanding stuff, you really need to just get a good, that first grid is a pretty important one to make sure everything's nice and flat. Then it's just a matter of taking those previous grit scratches out and you should be golden, but I'm pretty happy with this thing. Pretty happy. So, Pen Blank Club folks, there's the first blank for this month. It should be a pretty good one. I can't wait to see what you guys make on, using that blank. I love the colors and God, I just think, there's almost no way that I can not. That's a really weird negative. I think I'm going to have to add that to my lineup. So down the road, we'll see. I always give, if there's a blank that I'm like, oh, that needs to go in my lineup, I always wait a while. So it'll, we already missed Easter anyway. So down the road, I may introduce this blank, but I always hold off so that the Pen Blank Club folks get a chance to, you're the only ones that get these things. Oh, you missed the whole stream. Sorry, Calvin. No big deal. You saw what mattered. You saw the end. Even with the tip protector, I still take the nib off and press. Yeah. Let's see here. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? Colored candy eggs. Yeah, kind of like that. Chris wants some bespoke length. I can do that. Like I said, we got to wait a little bit. But. Oh, yeah. My buddy lives in Boulder, and he was like, yeah, we're going to go scope out some mud. Trying to get, what did he say? He's like trying to get the kids to get excited about mud skiing. It's like, oh, it's pretty much like that up here at this point. Let's see here. So doesn't look like there's any other thoughts about the things. Yeah, so let's see. Let me look at, I'm going to get my glasses. I don't see any brass. So if you're half blind close up, you're not going to have any issues. I'm pulled out there's really, I'm looking to see if, I really can't see any areas with tube. So I think you should be good not doing the, painting the tubes on these. We put a good amount of mica powder in there. And like, even if there was a spot, again, if I've got gold in there, it's swirled up and you've got gold kind of throughout the blank. I just, at that point, like, as long as it's translucent, okay, so it's not like on the like transparent side where you're just seeing all the way through, you can definitely see glue splotches and all this stuff. At that point, no, you need to do something about it. I mean, if it's that transparent, you're probably going to end up having to paint the inside of the blank at that point anyway. But if there's already a little bit of gold colored stuff going on, then like a brass tube, you really don't see them typically, so I usually don't worry too much about that, but I don't see anything in this blank, so you should be pretty good. Let's see here. Doggy wants to go out. All right. Well, yeah, so that does it, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week, and next week we'll make another batch of blanks somehow. Hopefully I won't be sick. I'm really verging. Gretchen's been sick for like the last week. And it's just the worst. I really hate getting sick. And I feel really bad that she was sick this week, but it's the worst when you're not sick and somebody is just coughing everywhere throughout. You're just like, I'm hosed. I am totally getting this. And this is just not the best week for me. I got so many things that I want to get done with all these. Like I got a knee doctor appointment. I got a foot doctor appointment. I got a tooth cleaning. I got too many things going on this week. And it's like pretty much the last time I'm going to get to go snowboarding, I think. We are supposed to actually get snow, maybe, on Wednesday, maybe. I don't know. I don't think that's going to really do a whole lot of anything. And if it's rain, it's going to kill everything. So this week, hopefully I'll get a little bit, one more day. and then we'll probably hang it up for the season. The only thing I've got in the back of my mind, I'm planning maybe I might go somewhere else that still has snow and try, like Mammoth probably will have snow for a while. It's quite an expensive trip for spring slush laps, but who knows. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining the fun this week, and I will see you guys all next week. I hope you all have a great evening. Excuse me. And I'll see you on the next one.